How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Shane, and welcome back to the Horror Basement and another installment of the Classic Horror Review series, where I review 50 classic horror movies. Today we're going to be talking about Dead Men Walk from 1943. Now, this movie is interesting because it stars George Zucco in a dual role. Now, George Zucco apparently was in a bunch of these low-budget horror movies in the 40s. He was actually the mad scientist from The Mad Monster, a movie I reviewed a couple weeks ago. You should check that out. And he plays a dual role in this movie. He plays Dr. Lloyd Clayton, who is a good and normal small-town doctor. And he also plays his Lloyd Clayton's evil twin, Elwyn Clayton, who is also a doctor, but apparently also studied the dark arts. Now, these two brothers have a epic life and death struggle on the top of a cliff, in which Lloyd throws Elwyn off in self-defense, and this, of course, happens before the movie actually starts because of budget. And after the funeral, in which a crazy lady walks in and starts yelling about how Elwyn was evil and did a bunch of experiments and killed little children, that kind of shit. Dr. Clayton, the good guy, goes over to Elwyn's house and starts throwing all of his weird esoteric books about vampires and the devil and shit into the fire. And that's when he's confronted by Elwyn's lackey or minion, the hunchback Zolar. And Zolar is actually played by Dwight Frye, the guy who played Fritz, not Igor, as many people misremember it, in the original Frankenstein, and played Renfield in Universal's Dracula. So he is reprising his roles as both a hunchback and the minion of a vampire. Because it turns out that Elwyn is not actually dead. He is, with his knowledge of black magic and necromancy, he has returned as a vampire, along with the long black cape and the bad Bram Stoker impression. And his goal is to ruin his brother's life by essentially turning his the girl that he looks after, named Gail, who is Dr. Clayton is her guardian. It's not established that she refers to him as Uncle Lloyd, but it's never established that she was Elwyn's daughter. So there's some third sibling out of this bunch that is apparently out of the picture because Dr. Clayton is taking care of Gail. And Gail, of course, has a boring love interest character, as all these movies do. His name's David, and he's also a doctor. So Elwyn's evil plan is to drink the blood of Gail, slowly draining her of her strength, and of course, eventually the plan is to turn her into a vampire as well. And this Lloyd doesn't want that to happen, so he's trying to stop Elwyn, but at the same time, the townspeople of this small town or village or whatever that the movie is set in, they think he's the one committing all these murders that Elwyn has committed, and also David thinks he's the one poisoning or making Gail get sick. Now, one thing about this movie I noticed is it's not really clear what time this is supposed to be in. All of the characters, for the most part, except the ones that are playing a hunchback or a vampire, are dressed in normal, modern 1940s clothes, but the sheriff of the town is wearing a cowboy hat and one of the 5-point star badges. So it's probably just something where they didn't have a normal cop outfit on hand, given the budget of this film. But it's a weird trying to place, is this turn of the century? Is this taking place, in the 40s when the movie was shot? It's not clear. But anyway, eventually, Lloyd convinces David that he's not the one doing this, and that's when Elwyn finally shows himself to David, and they shoot at him, and of course it doesn't work. Um, and this is about the same time the angry mob comes running up to Lloyd's house, but of course he leaves to go confront his twin brother and his lackey back at Elwyn's, evil lair. Right after we see Elwyn actually praying to this weird altar. He's praying not specifically to Satan, but the Lord of the Abyss. So that's how he sold his soul to the devil to become a vampire and, get Dwight Frye to be in this movie. And honestly, Dwight Frye is doing his normal shtick of acting like a fucking maniac, but he's like the best part of this movie. So Lloyd, the good brother, goes over and he gets in a fight with Zolar. And of course, it's kind of laughable because how much taller and bigger George Zucco is, especially when Dwight Frye's like hunched over to sell the fact that he's a hunchback, because honestly it looks like he's just wearing like football shoulder pads underneath his tunic or whatever. But in the scuffle, Zolar knocks the big like altar thing or some other thing in the room on top of him to where he's taken out of the equation, and also, believe it or not, sets the house on fire, because all of these B movies from the 40s have to end with the evil lair up in flames. And finally, we see Elwyn emerges and gets into a scuffle with Lloyd. Now, it's never explained as to why, up to this point, Elwyn had like magical powers and could teleport through walls, but now he, a vampire, is having a struggle, just subduing his brother, a normal guy, in a wrestling match. So they're kind of tussling around as the building burns around them, and the shot actually looks really good. I guess like the footage of them was like superimposed, but they look like they're legitimately in the middle of a room where everything is on fire. And of course, that's when David and the angry mob of hillbillies comes rolling up and looks through the window and sees that there is in fact two of them, and it wasn't Dr. Clayton all along, it was that evil vampire brother of his. And just as they come to that realization, big explosion, and Dr. Clayton excuse me, Dr. Clayton dies but takes his evil vampire brother out with him. Apparently you can kill vampires just by keeping them in a burning building. But overall, this movie was really short. I think it clocks in at like just barely over an hour, but it felt really, really longer than that. There's not a whole lot going on other than Dwight Frye was good. Like I said, he's playing a maniac, and George Zucco as Elwyn is just doing like a cut-rate Bela Lugosi impersonation. So overall, I didn't really enjoy this movie. I felt, even compared to its contemporaries like The Mad Monster, it was kind of uninspired. There's an interesting concept they had with like the George Zucco playing both of the twins, but beyond that, the movie really fails to pay off on its concept. So that's going to be it for today's video. Yeah, like I said, if you have this DVD set, go ahead and skip this one. It's not really worth it. But I will go ahead and pick the next two movies that we will be reviewing here for the classic horror review series. And those will be The Fatal Hour from 1940. And Metropolis from 1927. Alright guys, just want to thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you can get notified next time I upload a video. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.